Greetings there, Baconites. That's right, I said Baconites. It's the month of April, but I'm not fooling when I say that on the podcast for this month, I have our wonderful guest, Raj Ramayya, here, who's going to be appearing at the convention. Raj, thank you so much for being on the show with me today.
Great. Thanks for having me, Jeremy.
So, there were a few things that I kind of wanted to square away real quick on my end because
Mhm.
I wasn't 100% certain. So, one of the big things that a lot of people in the anime community know you for is for doing music for Cowboy Bebop. Now that's just the movie, correct? That's not for the entire series?
Yeah, just for the movie. That's correct.
Okay. So how did you go about getting that position of just making music for this movie?
Well, I lived in Japan for like almost half my life. Left Canada and moved to Japan, and just recently moved here to the U.S. About 6 years ago. But before that, I was living in Japan, and in the music industry, doing a lot of session singing and songwriting for different artists and for different TV commercials, movies, games, all sorts of different people. And I had a small hit with a like electronic artist, and then I got scouted by a record label, which is the same label as Yoko Kanno, and then they put us together, and she wanted me to write and sing on a few tracks with her for Cowboy Bebop, and then she invited me for a few other productions like Wolf's Rain, and then I ended up working with a lot of other kind of well-known Japanese composers, doing work with them. And yeah, the whole thing just kept on getting better and better. A lot of it was just released domestically, but the international stuff that's big is Wolf's Rain, Cowboy Bebop, and games like Resident Evil.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, hmm so that's basically it in a nutshell.
Well, I mean that's awesome so just getting scouted for something like that and for something that's become so big for so many people, it's fantastic for
Oh
everybody
yeah,
really, but
it's been great. I think it's just become a calling card and opened up a lot of doors for me, and it still continues to open up doors for me. Even after all these years, it's still big, and it's still such a gateway anime for so many people that basically I have used it to get a lot of traction in my career, and it's helped me to open doors for other projects here in the U.S. And but I'm still working on some anime projects. I'm doing a new anime theme song this month
oh really?
for an upcoming anime that'll be released. I believe this summer that it's coming out. So I'm doing the theme song,
Oh, well, I'll look
collaborative
forward to
theme
that
song.
specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let you know when I can say something about it. I'll let you guys know what's happening.
All right. Well, we really
But
appreciate that for sure.
yeah, my
But
pleasure.
what was it that made you actually want to get into music? What was it that made you say, "This is what I want to do for my life"?
Um, I think that earlier on I had success quite quickly with stuff, and I had at that point in time you could have real hits on the charts, and I ended up writing songs and working with different people, and I always loved music. I never thought I'd be able to make a living out of it, but it took off quite quickly, and then I was really in heavy demand for many years, and so I got a lot of work and a lot of opportunities, and I think that kept me in something that I loved, and yeah, it just kind of blossomed from there, and I own my own music production company and studio in San Francisco,
Oh wow.
and yeah, so we it's called Strawberry Hill Music, and we get to work with lots of cool people. People fly in from all over the world to work with us, and we're still working on music for visual media, games and movies and things like that.
That's awesome, actually. I
hmm
mean, just starting up your own studio, was that kind of where you expected when you actually started doing music for a living? Did you expect to kind of make up your own studio, or did you expect to kind of stick with other studios along the way?
Um, I think that I learned a lot from being in Japan and learning a lot of the business aspects of how to run a production company in a studio, just because I was always in a studio and working with producers and directors in the studio. So it's become a way of life for me. And I thought the best thing that I could do is have my own studio eventually and take what I've learned in Japan and apply it here in America. And so far it's been quite successful. I think it's been going well, and I feel I can wake up every day and be happy with what I'm doing, and enjoy my life and feel very productive at the same time that I'm doing things that I love to do.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now, several times throughout this, you've mentioned that you spent about half your life in Japan. What led you to
Hmm.
Japan originally from where you started from?
Well, I grew up in Canada, so I went to Japan. I just wanted to go when I was in college. I wanted to take a break from college and university. I'd just go to Japan and have a sort of a year to sort of travel and see Japan and other countries and ended up, as I said, having some success quite quickly, and then it inspired me to finish my degrees and come back again. And then I came back and kind of stayed, and things kept on getting better, and I enjoyed living there, and I found that I could travel quite easily from there, travel through Asia, and come back home to Canada quite easily. So I kind of made it my base, and it just became a second home for me.
What's so obviously you enjoyed your time. Would you say you enjoyed your time there more, in Canada more, the U.S. more? Sort of seemed like it was more of a home for you?
It's a great place to go back to. I'm going back to Tokyo next week.
Oh,
Um,
really?
so I go back quite regularly, 3 or 4 times a year. It's a second home. I feel actually like, here in California is probably the best place I've lived because I get the best of everything here in San Francisco Bay Area. I come close to Canada. I'm here in the heart of the music industry and entertainment industry in California, and I can go back to Tokyo anytime I want and work and continue my career there. So I think it's been the best of all three worlds living here in Northern California.
Yeah. I mean, I love Japanese culture and things like that. That's how I got involved in doing a lot of the anime stuff, and I have sort of had to live in Japan through other people. Unfortunately, I intended to go there a couple of years ago as part of a school trip, and the 1 year that I finally had it all paid off and I was ready to go is when that massive earthquake hit, and our trip was immediately canceled. And then from there, the following year, our teacher had set it up, and then we just didn't have enough people sign up to go on the trip. So unfortunately, I was never able to go. And
Right.
so
I
anytime
flew.
other people go, I have to live it through
Right.
them.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad. You should definitely make an effort to go. I left Japan the morning of the earthquake. I was on one of the last few flights that got out of Tokyo
Oh,
before the
wow.
earthquake hit. So I have it stamped in my passport. I kept that passport. It's just the morning. I flew out and the earthquake hit like 45 minutes later. And then all the flights stopped. So I was on one of the last flights out of Tokyo.
Yeah, well, that's very lucky
Um,
for you and for all of us who enjoy your content as well. That's
Thanks. I'm still alive. Hey.
yeah. I remember there was actually a lot of rumors that were flying around too, and I was one thing everybody knew that I was kind of the nerdy kid in school, and I really
Hmm.
enjoyed Pokemon. And I recall days afterwards, people kept coming up to me saying, because there was a rumor that had been circulating, everybody kept coming up to me and saying, "Did you know that the creator of Pokemon died in that earthquake?" And I kept having to stop them and say, "No, the rumor, which is not true, said the artist for Pokemon had died, but everybody's okay. Nothing happened to them,
Hmm.
at least, So I had to go through this whole process of for about a week trying to tell people who were, I don't know if they were just trying to inform me because I was the Pokemon guy, or if they were trying to inform me just because they wanted to like gauge my reaction to it. But for about a week, I kept having to say, "No, everybody in Nintendo's good. Go sit down again."
They sound quite concerned.
I mean, I was I didn't realize the extent of the damage at the time. And of course, now, I hear about it all the time, and I'm constantly, I feel so bad for everybody who is so negatively impacted by it. But at the time, it was one of those things that it wasn't really big in the news. Like, it was mostly like, oh, watch out, because of course right afterwards there was a lot of talk about how a giant storm was going to be hitting Washington within a couple of weeks or something like that, because the earthquake was so powerful that it was going to send wave after wave and destroy the entire area up here. And then we got, I think, half-inch waves that
Hmm.
came, and that was the
Right.
extent of what. But for a while, obviously, we had no clue what we were or what the extent was. So now I just feel bad whenever I think about it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot worse than people realize.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
it's really it the the nuclear fallout from that situation is that they've polluted the oceans around Tokyo.
Right, yeah.
And then now they're doing this big program to actually take the soil and flip it over, believe it or not, because the topsoil, because there's enough contamination in it. And then
Oh,
apparently the radiation levels in Tokyo are something like 10 on rooftops are 10 times past the safety level.
oh, jeez.
Yeah, so it's not. There's a lot of contaminated food, contaminated water. There's a lot of problems, and these problems will not start showing up until for another 3 or 4 years, right?
Right.
Until you start to really see them, like physically see them around. The birth rate's declining, and so there's some things that are weird that have been happening that they'll eventually link it probably to some of the contamination, but that's just an unfortunate side byproduct of too many people on a tiny island.
Yeah.
when you get to when you get to Japan, that's what will hit you first. You'll be like, oh my God, how many people can fit on this tiny island? It's like they're all falling off the island or something.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you
you watch TV and it seems fine, but then you see pictures from it and everybody's standing shoulder to shoulder and there's no space to move
uh,
around.
yeah, and that was, to me, it was at that point where I was just like, I can't live like this for much longer. It was fun to a certain degree, and then you come back to North America and you go like, oh my God, there's so much space and fresh
Right.
air, and you just love the lifestyle. To me, I love the California lifestyle. I'm right next to the San Francisco Bay. I can go down to the ocean, on the beach. It's sun shining almost every day, and no, it's just it's just like the luxury. Every Japanese person comes here and goes, "Oh my God, what a life!" Right?
Yeah.
And they're not stuck in a little rabbit huts rather in Tokyo where you're in like a 8 tatami mat room which is your life. That's pretty harsh. After a while, it's fun for a few years, and then you go like, "Oh, this is great. I'm having fun." But then after a while, you go like, "Well, that's not a life for people who born and raised in the West. It's hard for us to really live there for a long period of time without starting to feel claustrophobic almost, right, with all the people."
Right. I spent about a month at one point, a couple of years ago. I spent about a month in Israel, and it was
Hmm.
very much the same. At the beginning, I was thinking, "Oh, this is so great." And it's sort of that culture shock that on the one hand it's so different, but on the other hand it's great because it's so different. And by the time I left, it was like I enjoyed my time, but I don't think I could ever spend more than 1 or 2 months there just because it was so crowded and it was so heavily saturated with. I mean, I guess it's just that particular area, but you have people coming up to you constantly trying to get this and that from you. And even if you're not a tourist, you show up at a temple and even if you're actually Israeli, they try to wrap these scarves around you, physically
Hmm.
try to get you to take the scarf so you can buy it from them. But you open your car door and they're on you, trying to physically put it on you. But it's
Hmm.
it's one of those things that I don't think that I could ever do it. And I do
Hmm.
want to travel. I want to explore the world, but in the end, I don't think I would ever find a place that I'm more comfortable than here, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it's just we are blessed to live in North America with all the space and how the resources that we have here and the lifestyle. I mean, it's just most people want this, and most people in the world want this.
Yeah,
We,
that's
we,
true.
we kind of take. I don't take it for granted anymore after living in Japan for so long. I do not take it for granted. I appreciate it every day. I go, oh my God, this is amazing. After living in Tokyo for like 18, 19 years, it was just like, okay, that's it. I can't. I love living here now, and I don't want to go the other direction ever again.
Right.
But it's an incredibly fun place to go and visit. The people are nice. It's safe. It's unbelievably safe and clean. Things function. Everything works the way it should work. It's exciting. It's interesting. The food, the music, the culture, the art. It's amazing. So it's a great place. It's very stimulating. Definitely inspiring and stimulating going there for sure. So I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that we should appreciate what we have because I think people all over the world in countries like Japan where it's crowded love what we have over here. But then we go there, we love the excitement, and it's kind of like it's a mutual love story.
Yeah.
we go there and love it, and they come here and love it. So it's interesting. And I always enjoy going back. But yeah, after about a week though, I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to
Yeah.
come back home. Right? Yeah. So,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it's beautiful up here, up in Washington specifically. I mean,
Hmm.
I've spent quite a bit of time on the East Coast. I've spent a decent amount of time down in down in California. I think I've spent. I mean, I don't want to say a decent amount of time. Probably out of my entire life, I've probably spent about a month and a half in California. But even still, all over the place. But right here is where I've always felt most comfortable. And it's not just because I grew up here, but I've always found that like it's such a wonderful melting pot of all around the country. It doesn't get too hot, it doesn't get too cold. Unfortunately, the weather recently has been a bit of an issue where it'll
Mm,
rain and snow and hail and then it's 60 degrees all within the same day.
right.
That's
Yeah.
been it's been very weird lately up here with the weather. So I'm hoping that it gets more comfortable very soon.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's spring is here, so pretty
Yep.
much. So yeah. Yeah.
I
So
actually oh,
yeah.
go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I had a complaint when I was at work the other day, actually, because one of the last things I had to do was I had to take the trash out at work, and
Hmm.
I was checking the trash can out front of our store, and while the entire time I was out there, like it had been raining while I was cleaning, and then I go to take the trash out, and I'm taking the bag out of the trash can, and for the entire 30 seconds that it takes for me to take that bag out and replace the bag, it hails, and then as soon as I put the lid
Yeah.
back on the trash can, it stops hailing.
Right. Yeah. That's the irony of it all, huh?
Yeah,
It's
so
that Washington weather.
yeah, so of course immediately I get in and I start complaining like, why is it just me? It's always just me who has to suffer through all of this.
Okay.
So
So,
I was gonna ask you as well, and I forgot to bring this up earlier. What was it? You mentioned how you enjoyed music, but what would you say was your is your biggest inspiration for making music and the kind of music that you make?
I think for me, it's traveling. I love to travel. I love to meet people. Um, uh, enjoy new countries, new experiences. I think for me, it's all about traveling and experiences with people that I meet along the way. And generally, a lot of that stuff becomes food for thought and becomes a lot of the lyrics and inspiration for a lot of my music. So I would definitely say it's traveling and experiences with people.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a great way to put it. Most people, if you were to ask that question, a lot of musicians would just say, "Oh, well, it was this band when I was growing up and everything like that." So that's actually something that I hadn't expected to hear, but it's actually very enlightening just to think about it rather than just, oh, well, I listened to Judas Priest when I was younger, and that's the kind of music I wanted to make. When, you go out and you made your own experiences and took from that.
Yeah. Well, I heard this interesting thing. Peter Gabriel called himself an experienced designer and not a musician. So I kind of like that comment, and I kind of see myself as an experienced designer as well. Because when I do my live shows, I tell stories, and I see myself as a storyteller that sings and plays guitar. And when I do the live acoustic show, I do I mean it's I definitely like engage people on a very personal level, and I think the songs are telling a story, but I also like to engage people and with humor and with the music and get them involved in the shows. And I think that a lot of that comes back to experiences that I've had and talking about those experiences and trying to draw a connection back to the people that are in the audience and wrapping that all into a story and stories about Japan or about Asia in general tend to dominate a lot of the songs I've written, but I think that people can sense that all these songs are coming from experiences traveling, and I think that's something that I really enjoy doing, telling a good story.
And everybody loves a good story as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true actually.
Have there been
And
any musicians that you ever wanted to do like a collaboration with or even just perform a show with?
I've been extremely lucky. It's like my dad says I've got like horseshoes up my butt or something. I always seem to like, I'll just every few years I'll have a hit with something, or somebody will contact me that I've always wanted to work with. I was in the Bay Area one day, and I ran into an old friend of mine here, and he said, "Hey, I have a studio in the East Bay, and I'm doing a project with Mos Def." And so he sent Mos Def some of my stuff, and then they called me back, and they said, "Yeah, he wants to do some stuff with you."
Oh wow.
And I was like, "Wow, I've always been a Mos Def fan," so I get to work with them. And then I don't know if you remember Crosby, Stills, and Nash. The
Yes.
Yes, and so Stephen Stills is a friend of a friend, and Stephen Stills called me up and didn't call me directly, but his management contacted me, and they wanted me to co-produce a song for him. So I got to do that last month.
Oh wow.
Okay. And so it's been that kind of like sort of something will happen if I just wait around long enough. Something will come to me. So it's been like these kinds of opportunities, and now there's a bunch of other stuff coming up, and so it's been interesting. I think that if you're out there and you're constantly engaging people, good things will happen. You'll have these opportunities will make themselves present for you.
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
been interesting, yeah. And we actually, if you look on our company, we produce podcasts as well.
Oh, you do?
We have a
Okay.
podcast. Yes, we have a podcast production division. We do music, sound design, and actual podcast productions. So it's called Strawberry Hill Productions. Is a podcast production. Strawberry Hill Music is our audio production company and our agency, and we work with a lot of Japanese artists from all sorts of game and anime artists, which you can take a look at on our website to work with us on projects.
Okay.
So it's been it's been great. And then as I said, new things always come by. Every few months we'll find some new sweet project happening, and keeps me inspired and keep on having fun. And right now I'm working on an anime reboot album, hard rock album of anime theme songs, like
Ooh.
Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, Chala Head Chala. And I just finished the Digimon theme. I'm doing Power Rangers, doing Ghost in the Shell music, and I'm releasing all this music this month and the next few months. And they're all like hard rock remakes of anime themes.
That sounds awesome,
So
actually.
yeah, so you can just check it out on you can check it out on iTunes. Some of the songs are already up there. I think Pokemon's up on iTunes just under my name, Raj Ramayya, Ramayya. Songs are up on Pokemon, or they're sorry, not Pokemon, on iTunes. And so far we've I think we released our second song. We released the Pokemon theme. We've released on Digimon just a few weeks ago. And next up is going to be Lithium Flower from Ghost in the Shell. And then we're releasing Power Rangers theme song, and on, and we've got a bunch of songs, great stuff. I'll be hopefully doing some more interviews with some different online publications, so you get more information about that. But yeah, if anybody's interested, feel free to contact us, and we'll send you some information at Strawberry Hill Music, or just go to my website, rajramayya.com, and sign up on the mailing list, and we'll send you information about the releases and shows and things like that, and our newsletter and what we're up to. We write articles as well. We have a blog, and we do a lot of articles about anime and game music.
So hopefully, you guys can check that out as well, because that's immediately like that's something that I'm interested in, and I've always been like a hard rock fan and stuff like that. So
Okay,
hearing
cool.
that some of my favorite stuff is going to be reworked into music that I love makes everything so much more interesting immediately. So
Well, I hope you enjoy it. I will have Josh send you some songs, and you can feel free to share them with people.
yeah, for
Love
sure.
to get them
And
out there. If there's
we'll
any.
put a link to the iTunes tracks as well in the description for this video, so that way everybody can go and check those out as well.
Great, thank you. And
Yeah.
we really want to hear from people. We want to get some feedback on the songs, if you like them and what you think of them. And we'd really want to engage and talk with people and get to know them, all the anime and game music fans out there. So the reboots are there for people to enjoy. And we'd love to, if there's any blogs that would like to, feature the songs, I'd be more than happy to give them a CD or just MP3s or whatever they like. And be happy to talk about the songs a little bit. We've got some amazing musicians on the songs. They're pretty heavy, pretty heavy versions. We just rocked it out. It sounds like it's like Van Halen meets Queensryche meets Metallica.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to that because
Yeah.
immediately you just listed a couple of my favorite bands, actually.
I know. I wanted to take people by surprise by doing some like heavier versions of it, more, contemporary hard rock versions
Yeah, and I
of
mean,
the songs.
especially
And
considering
yeah.
you were mentioning earlier, you do acoustic live shows, so you kind of throw people for a loop by throwing out something that's not, they would hear an acoustic song and then they would hear that and go, is this the same person? So I
Yeah,
think that would be,
exactly. Well, I'm doing acoustic versions of the hard rock songs. I'm just not throwing in the like, super high speed solos and stuff like
yeah,
that.
exactly, yeah.
So it's just like more I'm doing like the acoustic version. And my acoustic set is all anime theme songs. Some of them that I've written, and some of them that I've co-written, and some that I just love. And it's like everything from the Pillows, Right on Shooting Star, to songs from Ghost in the Shell, songs from Cowboy Bebop, songs from Bleach, all sorts of famous anime theme songs, Attack on Titan theme, all sorts of songs like that I do acoustically, but I'm releasing under my name at hard rock style.
Okay. One thing I actually we realized this too. We had recently done our first flyering event to promote Baycon around town, and we
Uh-huh.
put flyers up all over the place, and we were so excited, because when we start doing that, that's when a lot more people start getting interested in the con because now they're hearing about it from outside of just our social media. If they don't follow our social media, they have no idea what's going on, so they see these flyers out around. And unfortunately, what we found out is that, and luckily this is only our preliminary flyer, we actually have new ones coming out soon, but we realized that we had misspelled both yours and Matthew Erickson's name
Oh
on the flyer.
no!
Your
Oh
name only
no!
has one Y, and Matthew Erickson's, they, and we've gone over this so many times, but Erickson is spelled with an O on our flyer.
Uh-huh.
So we luckily are going to be replacing those, but I don't know how I missed it because I remember constantly reminding everybody, like, hey, Raj has two Y's in his name, just don't forget that. And then I'm the one carrying the flyers around and handing them out to people, and I missed it entirely. So, looking forward to putting those up and making sure that everybody has the right uh, information displayed on
Uh-huh.
that paper because we don't want to have people, oh, Raj Ramayya, I've never heard of him. I'm super. Nope, that's our fault.
Well, let me know what I can do to help you out. I'm gonna be I'm posting some of these songs that are coming out on my website right away, probably today and tomorrow. And if you could direct people there, that'd be great, to rajramayya.com,
Yeah,
and then they can
absolutely.
sort of get a feel for what I do, and yeah, that'd be the perfect thing. And I'd be able to like interact with them, or just get them to join me or like me on Facebook, and then I'll share information with them. I'll be sharing videos of the songs and other things. So
And if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, you are supplying us with CDs to give as door prizes as well for Baycon. Is that
yeah, I could do that. I wasn't aware that I was
okay?
going to, but I'm more than happy to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's something that had been discussed previously. I don't recall exactly,
Okay.
but I mean, it'll be great, to have, people go and check out your music and immediately, they want it, and now they're going to have the opportunity to win it. So I think that'd be great for everybody involved. Everybody gets something they want. They get to hear your
Yeah.
music and you get to
Hmm.
spread it around. And I've
Perfect.
always loved different types of music. My Japanese teacher from high school
Hmm.
was he's a local musician and everything like that. And unfortunately, he isn't able to get his music out there too often. His all of his students know about it, but I'm constantly trying to sit there like, by the way, you should check out his music. You should check out his band, and um, I don't know if it's helped much, but I
Hmm.
just like telling people because I've always been a fan of music. I've always been a fan of art, and anytime somebody says, "Well, this is something that I do," I'm like, I want everybody to see this because it's so
Yeah.
good.
No. That's fantastic. Well, I think that, I'm going to be putting up, I have, under my works on my website, you can see the different projects that I have. I've got my composing and songwriting work, a reel, a SoundCloud reel. The Beautiful Loser is one of my bands, and then Raj Ramayya and Banglasi, which is an Indian fusion project. But I
Ooh,
have an anime act called Raj Ramayya and the Zed Masters. And I go solo acoustic playing the anime theme songs. And then with the full band, I do the whole hard rock version of the songs. So, but I'll be playing, like I said, the acoustic version of those songs, all anime hit theme songs, at Baycon, basically.
Okay. So, out, how many instruments do you play? Because you mentioned you play guitar. Do you play any other instruments?
Yeah, yeah, I play bass and play guitar, and I play Indian sitar as
Hmm.
well. And I've been, I fool around some different instruments, play some drums, play some piano, but I'm mainly a singer, a guitar player.
Okay. I tried doing the singing thing for a while, in a garage band, and unfortunately, I don't have the ability to hit notes that are much higher than my own voice, unfortunately.
Hmm.
My natural speaking voice. So, and every time we would try, it was like, oh man, let's play some Metallica, and I would try to hit something, and they would shut it down immediately. Like, no, let's play video games instead. Like, this isn't sounding good at all.
Well, it's not easy, that's for
It's
sure.
yeah, it's definitely not.
Hmm.
But I actually recently
Uh-huh.
decided one thing that I kind of want to try experimenting in rather than singing is I want to try voice acting. And
Oh,
so, that's something that was actually part of a segue because I was going to ask, are there any voice actors that you've ever worked with or that you've specifically enjoyed working with if you have, whether at a con or in the studio?
yeah, I'm friends with Steve Blum, and I'm also friends with Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. And I've got other friends. I mean, most of my friends are either voice actors or composers or songwriters or singers. It's like
Right.
everybody I hang out with is one of those three in one of those three groups. Like everybody. So it's like, yeah, I'm constantly surrounded by voice actors and singer songwriters and pop stars and whatnot. So yeah, I do have a lot of voice actor friends. When I go to LA, I'm always hanging out with voice actors. So it's like, that's just, Johnny Young Bosch, and there's just lots of people I know, just from being in the anime world, meeting people at cons and stuff like that.
Right. And actually, speaking of Johnny Young Bosch, I was actually going to bring this up, but I wasn't sure if how well you were acquainted with him because I had just seen recently on his Facebook page, or not his Facebook
Hmm.
page, but the iShine Facebook page, is that
Hmm.
they're actually releasing a final album, and then iShine is not going to be a thing anymore, apparently.
Really? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
So I was kind of disappointed because unfortunately I only found out about the band recently, and I went to one of their shows, and then they were up at he was up at SoccerCon in
Hmm.
2016, and I had seen him down in California in 2015. So I was telling
Hmm.
my friend, I was like, oh, we're gonna go see iShine. I'm gonna make you buy one of their CDs because it's so good. And then we get up there and I was having him sign something and I said, "So are you going to have a show later tonight?" And he goes, "Oh no, we couldn't book everybody up here. We couldn't get everybody in a hotel room." So part of me is like really hoping that they're going to all be at because I'm pretty sure that he was just announced recently for SoccerCon this year. So part of me is really hoping that he's going to be there and with the band so I can see them, one last time before apparently they're gone.
Yeah, that's too bad. It's hard. Keeping a band together is hard work. It
Yeah.
really is. It's a lot of hard work, and it's. I understand. That's why I kind of, I just bring a band together when I need one, and then I do solo acoustic just because it's just much easier to go out and perform and not have anything that's stopping you, right?
Right,
It's just
yeah.
me, grab my acoustic guitar, go out and sing and play, and very easy to do, and no logistics really.
I mean, I can imagine
It's
it would be
just,
difficult when you have, more, if your day job isn't being a singer either.
oh my God. And trying to organize bands and fly everybody around, logistics and hotel rooms and
Oh,
flights, and everybody, wants this and everyone wants that. It's a lot. It's just a lot of work, and I just like keeping things simple and easy and fun.
yep.
And and I love to do the big band shows. And if the con wants a big band show, I'm happy to do a full band show. But I'm also very happy to go solo acoustic.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be, comfortable, I'm sure, for everybody involved just
Hmm.
to, have it set up that way. But
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Cool. Um, yeah. Any other questions? Anything else I can
um
answer for you?
I'm trying to think of something, but I'm blanking on it. I feel like I
Okay.
had more questions, but unfortunately nothing's coming up.
Okay. Well, I mean, if any of your listeners, like I said, want to see what I'm up to, they can always come to rajramayya.com or please join me on Facebook. And then if they want to see what the production company we have and studio, what we do, it's strawberryhillmusic.com. And if they're interested in podcasts, strawberryhillproductions.com is our podcast division. And as I said, we work with a lot of different anime and game music artists on lots of different projects. And this recent reboot that I'm doing of Hard Rock Songs is leading up to some more projects with some game music companies in Japan we'll be working with pretty soon. So yeah, lots of fun, interesting stuff. And if anybody happens to be in the San Francisco Bay Area, we always encourage people to drop by the studio and say hi.
All right, great. So I hope you guys are ready to see Raj Ramayya on May 13th at Whatcom Community College. If you're interested in checking out any of his music or upcoming projects, make sure you check out his website in the link below. And if you have anything else that you're interested in checking out, you can check out his iTunes, you can check out his podcast, all of that stuff. All of that is in the description of the video below. If you're interested in appearing on the podcast yourself, go ahead and send an email to bellinghamanime@gmail.com with the subject line podcast, and we'll be sure to get you on the show as soon as we can. Just a reminder that panel applications as well as volunteer applications will be closing very shortly, so make sure you get those submitted at bellinghamanimecon.com. We want to get those in as soon as possible to make the con fantastic and have a full and fun day. Also, on our Instagram page, we're currently going to be running a 40 days of Bacon cosplay. If you're interested in having your cosplay pictures appear on our Instagram and boosted to several more people, make sure that you send the pictures in a private message to Bellingham Anime on Instagram. We hope to see all of you at Bacon very soon. Thanks so much for being on the show, and as always, I will see you guys next month.